Hello there, this story is trending now. If you're new to the channel and want to learn and become smart, make sure to like and subscribe to this video. Also press the bell icon to get notified about everything we post. When a new teacher came to the school, the girl recognized him as the man who... Helen was a very beautiful girl inside out. She was very intelligent too. She lived with her poor mother who had adopted her when she was young in a small village and used to bake a few things like cakes, pastries, cookies, and would then sell it to the other bakery keepers or even the locals to make two ends meet. This was their only way of earning. However, Helen was in her final year in university and she was doing great in her studies and intended to pursue her career. She used to work part-time to help her mother so they could make money for themselves. She was very interested in science, so she continued her studies in that field. 12 years back, there were two brothers, one named Jack and a younger brother named John. Jack had a 14-year-old son named Henry and his wife was 8 months pregnant with her child. John had a beautiful daughter named Helen and she was 6 years old at that time. John and Jack had a very successful business and they were very famous elsewhere. They were also involved with a police secret agency and worked very tirelessly, tackling criminals and frauds every day. Both of them loved their jobs, but it was very risky and very dangerous. They were given threats day and night, and they were used to it and never took it seriously. People would warn them day and night to withdraw from several cases they were working on, but they did not pay attention to it. They just worked day and night, working against corruption and criminal people. Helen and Henry were extremely attached to one another. They were each other's best friends and loved each other so much. They had a secret room where they would hide and sneak out whenever they wanted and play there till they would get tired. Life was going very smoothly among the two families. The brothers were extremely close and content. Their wives were close. The two kids, Helen and Henry, were best of friends with each other. And then what was feared happened. That one day masked men entered their house somehow. They lit their whole house on fire and intended to burn everyone alive and not leave any evidence behind. The only area in the house that didn't burn was the secret room of Helen and Henry. They had played all day long there and then fell asleep at the time and had absolutely no idea that their family was no more and they had lost their precious parents. The poor children were left alone and all they had was one another in orphanages. They weren't adopted for some time. The lady of the orphanage was very harsh and treated them very badly, but at the end of the day, they were all they had. They would be there for one another and love and comfort each other, and then one day, Henry was adopted by a family and he was taken away. But before he left, he promised Helen that he would come back one day for sure and would not leave her side. He also told her that if she is ever lost, he would search for her unless he finds her. And that was how they got separated. It was years and still no sign of him. Henry did not come back, nor did he come back to see her. And she kept on waiting for him and he just got lost. And Helen had not forgotten anything. She was quite young, but she was very intelligent to understand the situation. But she had patience. She remembered his promises, everything that he had told her, and he got lost and never turned back. Helen, however, had moved on with her life and she was adopted by a king lady who took her with her and now she was her mother. Helen's alarm clock went off and she woke up lazily from her bed, got ready and ate her breakfast, and then prepared to go to her institute with her only friend from high school who was named Anna. Both of them had 2 mathematics class in the morning and Helen was very excited. She was very intelligent and a hard-working girl, and due to these qualities, she was liked by all her classmates and teachers, and they used to regard her highly and help her out a lot in her studies whenever she required help. However, that day her mathematics teacher was absent and another teacher was called as a substitute to teach them starting from the next class. Helen and Anna rushed towards their class and sat in their usual front row seats. Just as they saw the new teacher enter, and one glance at him, Helen knew exactly who he was. The man who had left her alone and never turned back to even ask about her. She felt all the hurt she had once felt all over again. And that was the worst part. Henry was now a handsome 27-year-old man who lived with the parents that had adopted him. He had completed his education and got his master's degree and then was waiting for his doctoral degree in mathematics. When he came to the class, he saw that Helen had shifted to the last seat and did not respond at all. However, he had been told about her by the teachers that she was an excellent student and she often interacted a lot more than the other students, but to his dismay, she did not respond a lot in his class. He also noticed that she wouldn't look at him face to face. The girl, who was named Helen, just like his lost cousin that he had left years ago in an orphanage, did not respond at all in his class. He wanted to know why, so after the bell rang and the class was over, he stopped her from leaving and asked her what the problem was. He told him if he didn't teach properly or that she was so nervous and unresponsive during his class. She started crying that he did not even remember who she was and had totally forgotten her. Henry looked closely at her, and he remembered his own Helen so much that it surprised him. Then suddenly she said their childhood friendship phrase in front of him, and then he was left with tears. This shocked Henry a lot. She was Helen, his Helen, the one he had loved all this time. They were so young back then, but he was mature enough to know about her feelings. He really loved her, even at that time, but they were separated, and so he kept waiting for her every day in class for a week, which she did not come to. He wanted to talk to her and fix all the problems and clear all the misunderstandings that she had in her mind. After a week, when she finally came, he saw her and felt relieved. He made her sit somewhere and talked to her about everything that had happened over the past years. They both sat, and he looked at her so often because she was much prettier now. She was gorgeous as a little girl, but 11 years after, she was still a beautiful girl. He told her that he came to see her after 2 years at the orphanage, but she was not there. He was told that she had left and she was adopted. He further clarified that he tried hard to find her and get out some information about her whereabouts, but the orphanage authority did not tell him anything other than the fact that she was adopted by a kind lady. He kept on looking for her for so many years, and he hoped that he would find her someday, and now fate brought her back to him. He also told her that he looked into the investigation of what happened to their families 12 years ago and how they were murdered, but he was told that the case had been closed years ago and was no longer under investigation, which saddened Helen and Henry both a lot. But upon hearing all this, Helen knew she loved him and loved him a lot. They reconciled and were extremely happy and intended to marry each other. They both met each other's parents, who adopted the two and instantly linked to each other. Both of the families were extremely happy to see them both together, as they were two ideal people in love with each other. Their happiness did not end there. After Henry proposed to her, they immediately set to marry in a beautiful wedding ceremony, where all the friends and families were invited, and they enjoyed a lot and had a great time. Not only this, even after marriage, they were very considerate, as Henry went for his doctoral degree in mathematics, and similarly Helen went for science, as she has always been an enthusiast in that field. She had full support of Henry, and both continued to pursue their dreams and their lives happily, and sooner achieved their goals with full zeal and zest. As both of them were very talented, they did not take it long before they could become successful, and eventually became even stronger than they were before. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like it and share it with your friends. Also, tell us in the comment section below about this story and whether you liked it or not.